Well, hello and welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament, and we're reading Luke's Gospel, chapter 12, we're up to verse 49. This pericope is in Matthew, very short one in Matthew, it's only a couple of verses, and as I mentioned in the previous pericope, Luke has extended this quite a bit and rewritten, and it's an interesting exercise to compare the two versions. So pour elthon balein epitangain kaitithelo aadi anephthei. I came to cast fire upon the earth. Kaitithelo aadi anephthei. Now this is a odd, funny expression here. It's literally how I wish that already it had been kindled. The classical Greek would have used aether or agar here for tithelo, meaning would that. Here it's how I wish that already it had been ignited or kindled. Now this is from anapto, is the verb here. So it's ana plus there's alpha, pi, tor, anapto. If you're looking this one up, you get an augment from the alpha. The pt gets reduced to a pi, which then gets aspirated before the theta in the aorist passive. So the verb gets morphed quite a bit. There's nothing much left of it apart from the ana at the beginning, but it's from anapto, to kindle, to light up. Baptisma de echo baptistheni. I have a baptism to be baptized, understand, in. Again, an odd expression. Kai pos sun ekomai heos hotu telesthei. Literally, and how I am constrained, from soneko, or sonekomai in the middle, so passive, how I am constrained, heos hotu, you've got to supply chronu, until the time when it might be fulfilled, it is completed. So rather elliptical. I'll leave the commentaries to discuss the theology of all this, but he says, I have a baptism to be baptized in, obviously referring here presumably to the crucifixion, and how I am constrained until it is fulfilled. It has been fulfilled. This is an aorist passive subjunctive from Telio. Docati hoti erene paragenomen dunai entege. Do you think that I am present to give peace in the land? Uki, no. Lego humin, I say to you. Al a dia merismon. So we have to supply something like I am present for no other reason than. So we would say but rather here for al-a, but rather I am present, dunai, to give, diamerismon. This is only here in the New Testament. It means division. You can see that meros, part or portion, and dia, to divide, and so the word means division. Eson taiga apoto tu nun penti en heni, for there will be from now on penti en heni, 5 in 1 oiko, diamerismenoi. There will be 5 divided, sorry, I've forgotten what I had there, 5, so in one house there will be 5 people divided. So in one house there will be 5 people divided. Trace epidusin kai duo epitrisin. 3 against 2, that's the dative plural from this duo, and 2 against trisin against 3, dative plural from this trace. So 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. The next little section the editor here has put into a kind of poetic form. Dia meris theson tai pater epi huio, kai huios epi patri, mater epi ten thugatera, kai thugater epi ten matera, penthera epi ten numphen autes, kai numphe epi ten pentheran. Father, they will be, it's plural here, so they will be divided, future passive, and then it's almost semicolon here, father against son, son against father, mother against daughter. Now, odd here that we've got epi plus the dative, you'll notice here, and then we get epi plus the accusative. Whether there's any subtle difference here, I don't know. You'd need to consult the commentaries here. Epi's always used very inventively. So it's epi plus the dative here, and then when it's mother against daughter and daughter against mother. Mother-in-law against her numphain. This is presumably this must refer to her daughter-in-law. It's the bride, literally. So mother-in-law against the bride, i.e. against her daughter-in-law, and the numphe, the daughter-in-law, against the mother-in-law. Penthera is the word for mother-in-law. You also do get pentheros for father-in-law, but that's much rarer in usage, in fact. Elegen dekai tois oklois. Hotan ideati ten nephelein anatelus in epidusmon, eutheos legati hoti ombros, erkatai, kai ginatai hutos. And he was speaking also to the crowds, whenever, hotan from hotet plus an, whenever you see a cloud, anatelusin, this is for rising, anatello is to rise. Epidusmon, literally it's in the setting. The dusmos is the setting of the sun, so this is used for the west. It's the place where the sun sets, and hence in the west. So when you see a cloud rising in the west, eutheos, immediately you say, and then hoti recitative here, and so inverted commas, ombros erkatai, rain is coming. Kai ginatai hutos, and it is thus. Kai hotan noton pneonta legati hoti kauson estai kai ginatai. And whenever, understand, you see, a notos is this is the south wind blowing. I think I've got that right. The south wind blowing. You say that literally it will be kauson, a scorcher, we'd say in English. This is really is a future periphrastic here. This is the future participle from Kaio. Yeah, this is the south wind now that I think of it. So south wind blowing, you say that it will be about to be hot. So we would say it will be a scorcher. It'll be a boiling hot day. But grammatically this is a future periphrastic form here. Kaio is to burn. This is the future kauso. So this is a future participle. It's about to become very hot. So it will be a scorcher. Kai ginatai, and it happens. Hypocritai, O hypocrites. To prosopontes ges kai tu uranu oidati doki mazdain, ton chiron de tuton pos uk oidati doki mazdain. So you know how to dokimazdo is to put to the test, is the root meaning of this. In classical Greek, at the end of their tenure in a public role, the public servants had to go for a dokimasia, which was an investigation to make sure that they'd done the right thing during their term of office. So dokimazdo is to put to the test, often translated, I think, as discern, which is a sort of slightly later meaning. You get lots of these words and forms and nouns and adjectives in the Epistle of James, in fact, but here it's just to discern, I think is probably the best. So you know how to discern the face of the earth and of the heaven, and then we get an adversative de here, but you do not, but this season, it's a question here, but how do you not know how to discern this season, this period of time? We might say the signs of the times. And the last little section, ti de af hiaton u krinete tot dikaion. Why do you not judge that which is right from yourselves? And we get a kai then. So why also do you not judge that which is right from yourselves? Because from up here you can tell what's going to happen with the weather, and it says, why do you not judge that which is right from yourselves? Hoska hup ages meta tu antidiku su epi archonta ente hodo dos urgasian ape lexai apau tu me poti katasure se pros ton kriten kai hokrite se paradose to practori kai hopractor se bale a spulacane. Lego soi ume exelthes ekathen heos kai to hekaston lepton apodos. This little bit also is from Matthew, but you'll notice it's Matthew 5, and in fact in this second half of chapter 12 in Luke, we're getting lots of these pericope that are common with Matthew, but they're jumping all over the place. So one of the earlier ones was from chapter 24 in Matthew, which is quite late. This one's from 16, then it jumps back to 5. So Luke is rearranging here this Q material that he shares in common with Matthew. Anyway, so here it says now the host probably here is when. So when you are going, hupago is to depart, but here it's just, I think, going. When you are making your way might be good there. With your adversary, this is a technical term from the law courts. The antidikos is the person who is your legal adversary in court. So when you're making your way with your adversary, ep archonta, now an archon was a particular office in classical period, and here it's being used in that sense. So it's to the magistrate, probably. So when you are making your way with your adversary to the magistrate, on the way, ente hodo, dos ergasian is very interesting. It's it's only here in the New Testament, and it appears to be a Latinism for the Latin expression da operam, which means something, well, it means to do a work, literally in Latin, but here it's a Latinism meaning to something like our make an effort. So make an effort, apolacthe, to be rid of him. Oh, sorry, to be separated from him. That is, from your adversary. That is, by sorting out the matter before you get into court, coming to terms with him on the way to the court. Again, it's interesting to compare how Matthew writes this. So on the way, make an effort to separate yourself from him, perhaps to make an agreement with him or something to separate yourself from him, lest ever katasure he drag you from. Suro is to sweep, but in the sense of to drag a broom, and katasuro is just to drag. So lest ever he drag you to the judge, and the judge paradose hands you over to the practor. Now the practor, this is only here in biblical Greek, but it's literally the exactor. So it's something like a court officer or bailiff. It's often translated as. It's it's the person who is in the court, who's running the courts. So I'll hand you over to the bailiff, and the practor, the bailiff, will cast you, future here from Ballo, into Fulacane, into prison. I say to you, in no way, we get ume plus the subjunctive, in no way will you come out ekathen. Now there's that eke, meaning there, and the old then, the old ablative then ending from there, heos, until apodos, you repay kai, even the eschaton lepton, the last lepton. Now a lepton is a tiny little coin worth very little. It's like a cent or something, or in the old translation it was farthing. So until you hand back even the last penny, or the last farthing, or the last cent, put it in more modern terms. And that's the end of chapter 12.